What's cracking, guys? Bruce Mattson here, your host of the show. And Daniel Jeremiah just dropped his new mock draft, his 3.0. And like you know, we like to go over the mock drafts and look at the fits for Dynasty Fantasy Football. We look at the skilled players, the quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, see how they fit for us, for our purposes, Dynasty Fantasy Football, see if their values change, increase, whatever, talk about them a little bit, react off of them. It's just a good tool to use to analyze these players just to see what it feel like if they went to an NFL team, because it makes it feel kind of real when it's not. It will be real here soon. They'll be with their true landing spots, but right now this just gives us an idea of what some of these players could potentially look like once the draft happens. With that being said, let's look at Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft. I got it pulled up here. Jeremiah's mock draft 3.0. Let's see what they do. Usually in these mock drafts, they do something a little bit crazy just to bring in the clicks. Let's see if we can find that. Point that out in the comments just in case I forget. But again, like I say this every single time, offensive line, defense heavy. We're talking about the skilled players only here for Dynasty Fantasy Football purposes. And bam, one thing I just noticed, Garrett Wilson to the Atlanta Falcons. Very similar to Mel Kiper's draft. We got Garrett Wilson to the Falcons in his. And he has Wilson as the first wide receiver off his board. And that being said, that's a change, because last time Jeremiah did a draft, if I'm remembering right, he had Drake London as his wide receiver 1. Now Garrett Wilson's the wide receiver 1. He's going to the Falcons, being paired with Kyle Pitts. I see this fit pretty much because he's got some comparables to Calvin Ridley. They're different players. I think Garrett Wilson's overall better prospect coming out of college, better ball skills, better hands, good change of direction skills, good short area quickness, good route running, good selling of the routes. I think this is a good pair here with him and the Falcons. I like that. He's got top 10 draft capital. Quarterback position is going to be dicey. Matt Ryan's gone. Marcus Mariota's in. What's the plan long-term at quarterback? They may be drafting a quarterback here. They might be doing that. Or they might just try to get a quarterback next year, but they're bringing in another quarterback sooner than later. But I feel like Garrett Wilson's overall fantasy value, I feel like Garrett Wilson's overall rookie ADP should be very similar to what we've had all along this offseason. Wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 range. Let's move on down here. Drake London to the Jets. He's been mocked to the Jets in several mock drafts. Here it is again. This fits very interesting because he's got the downfield threat for Zach Wilson, which could be very interesting. We also got Elijah Moore there, slot guy, short to intermediate guy who can also stretch the field a bit. Could be decent for fantasy because Zach Wilson likes to throw it deep. If I remember right, during his days at BYU, he averaged over 10 air yards per pass attempt. During his collegiate days, he liked to sling it downfield. It was one of the top quarterbacks in that metric in his class. Deep ball thrower, gives him a deep ball guy. Could help him transition a little bit better. Could help them both out. Again, top 10 draft capital. I think since he's going to the Jets, I think fantasy gamers are going to perceive this as a bad landing spot. This could allow us to catch London at a decent discount. Move on down here. Let's see what we got. The next player we're going to talk about is Kenny Pickett to the Saints. He's getting mocked here pretty frequently. Mel Kiper has him to the Saints as well. A lot of questions here long term. Saints is in cap hell right now. They're figuring out how to get under it every year, but eventually that's going to get them. Ask the Dallas Cowboys. We see this happen. The cap is real. If you've been wondering, it is real, and it's going to get them. Skilled players here, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, they're not getting any younger. You can't rely on them forever, so they're going to have to get him some pieces. They're going to have to add pieces all over this team eventually. This is a good spot for him to develop. Jameson Winston's there. He's going to have a little bit of competition in the beginning, but that's all right if it helps smooth out the transition process so he's not thrown in the fire right away, because it's not like he's going to have the appropriate pieces around him from the beginning to be immaculate. Plus, he's also a dicey prospect in the beginning because he only had one solid year of production. Superflex value, I imagine he's going to be a first rounder somewhere in rookie drafts, maybe second. But imagine once the chips are down, people are going to be drafting him in the first round because he's a quarterback, getting that quarterback value. Moving on down here. And who is the next skilled position? Being drafted, Jameson Williams to the Patriots. Again, very similar to Mel Kiper's draft. Jameson Williams to the Patriots. Him and Mac Jones being together, I think is going to be a good fit. I think this is a very sneaky fit. I think his long speed, his ability to get yards after the catch is going to be great for this team. I think he's a good route runner. I think this could be the first wide receiver, or one of the few wide receivers this team hits on in the draft for quite a while, and I think this could be a good fit. Next we see is Chris Olave to the Packers. I think this is probably the perfect spot for him. I think this is a sneaky selection. There's other wide receivers I'd like to see with the Packers, like George Pickens, Treylon Brooks, those fun guys. But his ability to change directions, create separation, work in the slot, come up in big moments, I feel like that's going to pair with Rodgers well. I feel like Rodgers is going to rely on him early in his career. He's very reliable. Rodgers likes reliable players, and if we want another wide receiver to lean on, Chris Olave to the Packers, that might be it. I imagine I'd bump him up my rankings somehow, some way, especially those targets opening up with Devontae Adams leaving. This is huge for Olave. I think he can transition pretty quickly in his offense. Usually with Rodgers, it takes a bit for new wide receivers to transition. I think Olave can do well here. I think he can do really well here early on, just because he's pretty smooth as it is. He's well developed. Let's move on here to the Cardinals. Treylon Brooks to Arizona. This is different. They have Rondale Moore there. They also have DeAndre Hopkins. Christian Kirk's gone, as what's noted here, that he barely wrote anything in his summary. He barely has anything for any of these picks. But Treylon Brooks gives him a big guy. It gives him a younger option. This wide receiver course isn't super young. It's been transitioning a good bit here in recent years. Kyler Murray needs some pieces. He always does. It's always good to get you some young, fresh blood in the passing game. Is this the best prospect to get? This is the best position for them to go after? You guys let me know in the comments. Treylon Brooks here for fantasy. I think it's going to be a sneaky spot because I don't think people are really going to digest this as a good landing spot for him. He may fall a little bit in rookie drafts. I'm going to take that discount all day because I'm going to buy the talent. I don't care. I think I'm going to get him at a value, maybe middle of that first round. Let's move on down. Breece Hall in the first round of another mock draft. 101, baby. Probably both Superflex and 1 QB if this happens. More than likely, I think in Superflex, it's going to be dicey between him and the top quarterback, which is probably going to be Malik Willis. But I think Breece Hall going in the first round to the Bills is a big spot for the Bills. They need a decent running back. You think Singletary can handle load, you're thinking wrong here. Breece Hall would be a great addition here. Fantasy-wise, he should take over that backfield. He's on a team that's going to be moving the change constantly, and a good spot here. He's going to take some of the load off of Josh Allen at the goal line situations too. It's going to help this team out a lot. Breece Hall would be the 101 in rookie drafts all day, twice on Sunday. If he goes to Buffalo at 25, I think this is a good sneaky landing spot. Moving on down here, Johann Dodson to the Packers. Packers getting a second wide receiver in this draft. Olave and Dotson. So they're going for wide receivers that can create separation with good change of direction skills. Johann Dotson has good hands, play in the slot, can play a little bit outside, has a little bit of speed. I am seeing him go in the first round in a lot of mock drafts. If he goes in the first round, gets that first round draft capital, people are going to pump him up in rookie drafts. Let's see what happens with him. But in this spot, him, Olave, with Rodgers, he's going to get a little bump in value. Moving on down here. And that is it with this draft. Did he not? Where's Malik Willis? Did he go up front? Did we slide over him? We don't have Malik Willis getting drafted. We don't have Malik Willis? I don't believe this. Did I skip over that? We just got Kenny Pickett. Alright, so. Alright, I just want to keep this real here. This is possibly the laziest mock draft I've came across. Like, I've came across mock drafts, like a lot of them, like the landing spots, like just aren't realistic. But honestly, like, what's the point of even making a summary here? Like, look at that. Like, what is this? Like, why? That's so lazy. Like, look at these. Like, you can't write more than that. Baltimore signing Morgan Moses eliminates the dire need at offensive tackle. Give me something here. I get it. This is free off the internet, but give us something here. Give us something. Give us a reason why. Did I miss him? No, not here. Malik Willis is not here. Nope, he's not. He's not getting drafted. We got one quarterback in the first round, which could be a possibility in this year's draft. Could be. I just don't see it happening. Quarterback's a big position of need for some teams. It's the cheapest way to get him is through the draft. Malik Willis has been looking good. I just don't see that. He's been looking good in like all the offseason activities. I just don't see that happening. Matt Corral. He's a big-time prospect that people will be looking at. I don't like this quarterback class. I don't disagree having any of these quarterbacks out of the first round. It's not like they should all have true first-round grades, but just the overall economics just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. And, yeah, I feel like some of this is just copy and paste, like get it, Garrett Wilson. I get it, Drake London. And I'm just keep cutting it straight here. I feel like this one was very lazy. For big media, this is, like, I don't even think the clickbait here, I imagine the clickbait here they were going off of, it was the Packers selection with Olave and Dotson. I'm not in love with this draft. I feel like they cheated us. But landing spots, they're pretty normal to me. Let me know what you think. But that's all I got for you today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Every subscription matters. Fuels me keep going over these mock drafts. Fuels me keep going over these rookies, helping you out with your dynasty teams and everything else. Again, I want to thank you, and I'll catch you next time.